What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to Xilonen's character trailer. I'm really interested to see what we have in here. It's only a few days away from the new update, so I'm really hyped to see the continuation of the story. I'm very curious to see how Xilonen is going to implement into the story going forward. So, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into this.
Wow, what a beautiful gem.
Okay.
You should turn it into jewelry.
Ooh. Looks nice.
We should check the grade first. But I can think of a better use for you.
Oh. Interesting music. Ooh. Lyrics? Oh.
Truly a precious gem, and so damn simplistic. Could be wasted on a piece of jewelry.
Okay. Oh.
Looks like these Saurians don't miss a beat. Time for a test drive.
Interesting. Oh, hi Malani. Jaska. Oh. Wow. Okay. Hell yeah. Wow, this is not at all what I expected. Nice. God, that looks so good.
It took so long to dig up, and now the phlogiston is gone.
That's for the best. Better lost in the heat of battle than locked away in a jewelry box.
Oh. Okay.
Gems like these are meant to burn.
Ooh, nice.
So much more, down the drain.
Cool. Really cool. I didn't necessarily have a ton of expectations going into this, so I wasn't expecting really anything. But this is really interesting. This is, I think, the first Genshin trailer to have English lyrics in it. Like, obviously, Farina's demo had, I believe, French lyrics. But yeah, they haven't really done this kind of thing in Genshin before. And retroactively, that actually makes some sense that they do that, given that she has the whole sort of DJ vibe going on. But I did not expect it going into this. Now, there's some interesting stuff going on here. It's fairly straightforward, but there's this interesting through line with this gem and her opinion of what should be done with it. As we start with them finding a gem, we have someone saying, wow, what a beautiful gem. They have found this gem that reflects light really interestingly, is glowing sort of yellowish orange, and we have Xilonen just sort of holding it, looking at how it reflects light, that kind of thing. Xilonen then says we should check the grade first, talking about, of course, seeing about what the quality of the gem is in actuality, how valuable it actually would be, but where the immediate implication is its innate like value and potential for like jewelry or whatever, she says that she can think of a better use for it. And she says you, referring to the gem specifically, which is interesting. It just sort of points to her having the focus on the gem rather than the people she's talking about the gem with. And then we move into sort of the core framing of all this being her on stage with the turntables and stuff. As the music sort of begins to pick up, we see this crowd. Now I'm assuming that this kind of thing isn't meant to be literally happening, because I don't think there's meant to be anywhere in Natlan, let alone Genshin, that is this explicitly like high-tech concert-y. So I'm guessing this is more just visual aesthetic type stuff. I realize she can manifest the turntables and stuff, but I don't think they have explicitly anything like this going on necessarily, unless maybe they do and I just am underestimating things, but who knows. And it just sort of lingers on this for a while. And before I forget, one thing that I find really interesting that I want to point out is how the aspect ratio changes here. It just moves into this more cinematic view. And then as we phase out, we have this really interesting first-person perspective shot as she's in Night Soul mode, presumably on her skates. As we just move forward, the colors shift and stuff. We go out to her, just show off her combat a little bit. Get these nice cool pauses, show her going up inclines. We have this nice pause, slow shot where she's doing this flip move. Just looks real nice. And then we jump back to this with her on the stage. Oh, and I actually just only caught this through pausing at this moment, but I like how effects-wise, they grayscale everything out, have the background be little dotted stuff to sort of blend it to the background. But then, even though she is also pretty grayed out, her boots are full, vibrant color and also have this weird chromatic aberration thing going on, just to really highlight them. That's cool, actually. Lots of little effects like that that really makes this pop. But she says, truly a precious gem, and so dense and phlogiston. So it holds some potential power there. And then we get her actual opinion on what should be done with the gem. She says that it would be wasted on a piece of jewelry. Now, this isn't saying specifically what she thinks should be done with it, just what she thinks shouldn't be done with it. For most people looking at a beautiful gem, they'd think, oh, this should be made into a necklace or a ring or some piece of jewelry, depending on what it is. But evidently she thinks otherwise, which is interesting. Potentially that has some ties to the fact that though she works in stone forging and stuff, she more so works in things like ancient names, which are meant to have actual purpose and function rather than just an aesthetic appearance. I could see that maybe as her seeing rocks and materials as having actual use to them rather than just being things of a pure aesthetic. And then we have this lull moment of there's a little bit of suspense. Everything sort of pulls back a little bit. Have some Saurians show up as she says, looks like these Saurians don't miss a beat. Doesn't seem like this really ties into anything, but I like the way she says that line there. It's just something about her super casual energy there is real fun. And it's also just setting up for her to show off a little. And then she says time for a test drive. As she clenches it, it glows. For a moment I thought it was going to shatter when she does this, but immediately when she says time for a test drive and showing the stone, I think she's going to use the phlogiston inside. As we then go into what is essentially going to be her ult showcase, but it's doing a really interesting job of having it be this more complex, interesting aesthetic visual thing going on leading into it. As we have her sort of working the turntables and stuff, I don't know the lingo for this kind of thing. As we have Malani appear on one of them and her just look around and then wave to Chaska, who moves in onto the other one. She just sort of walks in, looks to the camera, and then it pans. We just have some good visuals. And then this is the wild part of this. Not just the song playing over, but Xilonen specifically starts fucking like rapping or some shit, which is wild. It really sets this apart. It's really cool. Just that little like 10 or so second sequence is so distinct. It really sets this apart from pretty much anything else teasers wise, which is really cool to me. I really like when they do unique stuff. And though it isn't necessarily my style of music, I really find it cool that they went for that they just really leaned into the style and the music that they were doing. I think the element here that really makes it is the fact that Xilonen herself is singing here. She's the one rapping rather than it just being the music over something she's doing. Because if it was just the music, that would be cool, but it wouldn't be anything super remarkable. It would just be cool. Where with her being the one singing, it adds an additional element that makes it more interesting to me. And then as she goes into more just proper singing or whatever, we get into her actual just ult showcase. As we then allow Chaska and Malani to do some stuff, because at the end of the day, Xilonen is a support character, but regardless, it only lingers on these other characters for a moment before it has this really cool shot here where Chaska, it moves in onto a side view of Chaska, she holds up her hand in a casual fist, as then from the side of the screen, Xilonen comes in, they fist bump, not even looking at each other, they just fist bump as Xilonen keeps moving past. It slows down just to show that off for a moment, to give Xilonen the last bit of her own demo, as then we have the rest of the demo pretty much be just her little concert plus this cool shot of her little like leopard form or whatever with all the lyrics behind her and stuff. We get her splash art here, real simple style, just her name, nothing else other than the background in her art. As we then get, I believe, Molani saying, sort of disappointedly, it took so long to dig up, talking about the gem. And she continues saying, but now the phlogiston is gone, having been used to do whatever Xilonen did with it. But here we see Xilonen just sort of stretching, relaxed, as she says, that's for the best. Better lost in the heat of battle than locked away in a jewelry box. Gems like these are meant to burn. Now that's a really interesting philosophy. Now obviously she's just talking about a stone, she's just talking about a gem, but that very much I think can be taken to a grander scale potentially. Because let's think about this. She views gems in a way where something where most people would see a beautiful gem that should be made into a piece of jewelry, a piece of art, something to be preserved and looked at and serve no purpose but aesthetic. Where she looks at it and goes, this has a use, this has potential. Though it looks nice, there's no reason to preserve it and not allow it to be used for its function. Something that has potential or capacity to do something should do it, rather than being left to rot on its own, preserved not being let to do anything. Which very much you potentially could take to an idea of people, in the idea of laying on your laurels and not doing something when you have the potential to do it, have the capacity to, or the potential to, is bad. That isn't a good thing to do. If you have the ability and capacity and potential to do something, you should go out and do it. That is potentially what you could extrapolate from what she says here. Now, admittedly, you might be able to see that as a bit of a stretch. I very much admit that, but I feel like it's a potentially interesting thread of thought, because that philosophy is very much in contrast with sort of how she's been presented early on so far. Our first showing of her as a character was her sleeping in a tree and sort of disregarding the call to adventure, which was the pilgrimage, which paints a picture of someone who's sort of lazy, not super motivated, that kind of thing, which admittedly, with her teaser and a few other details, we have been seeing more of her serious side and showing more that she has certain motivations and ideals and stuff, and isn't necessarily just this lazy person, just that she can appreciate a good nap in a tree, that kind of thing. But whereas that philosophy is fairly contrasting to some of my initial impressions of her. But regardless, I find it an interesting line, I find it cool, and that's just sort of where my brain went with it. Either way though, sort of closing out the demo, I like that we see the gem now without the phlogiston in it. It's just this sort of clear, almost glassy stone. It honestly probably could still be made into jewelry, it just wouldn't be as flashy as it was. But it now has been used, it's been burned like she says it was made to be, rather than locked away into a jewelry box. And with that assessment of hers, we end on Molani just sort of lamenting, saying it would have been so much more, it would have been so valuable, all down the drain because we had to use it. Which is just sort of funny, because I don't really think of Molani as being a particularly money-hungry person, but I can also very much see how she's just sort of sad that they lost this nice gem. And that's where they leave us for the demo. Real fun, real simple, all things considered, but it has some real standout moments throughout this, which I really enjoy. All in all, this is a very solid trailer that I really enjoyed. But with that, I don't necessarily have too much more to say, just because we don't know a ton about her character, so there's only so much I can extrapolate out about her. But from what I've seen, I'm really interested to see more about her character going forward, and I think I'll leave it there. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and I hope you all have a great day, and goodbye!